Season 1 had several twists related to the timelines and secret host. If you comb through the episodes, there's another big twist in store for Season 2. Another secret host. If you haven't watched Westworld Season 1 yet, close out now. It's the best show ever. Go watch it.
It's time to recruit my army. Time to write my own fucking story. Dear boys, we're going to have some fun, aren't we?
So the Season 1 twist dealt with timelines and secret host. Bernard was an example of both. We saw him as Arnold in the past, and we saw him as Bernard in the present. Bernard is a host built in Arnold's image. One hint of this was his name. Bernard Lowe is an anagram of Arnold Weber. There might be another play with names, Charlotte Hale, and Bernard's son, Charlie. It's not a full anagram, but it's interesting. The first 4 letters are the same, C-H-A-R, and the last 3 of Charlie's name are L-I-E, lie. This is a hint that there are lies hiding below the surface, a lie about Charlie and a lie about Charlotte Hale. The first lie was exposed. Bernard found the center of his own maze and told Charlie, "You're a lie, Charlie." But what about Charlotte Hale? There's a theory that Arnold's child never died, that Charlotte Hale is actually Arnold's child, all grown up. Ford told Charlotte Hale, "When you find the cancer in any organization, you must cut it out before it can spread." And later on, we learned that they can cure any disease, keep even the weakest alive. So did Arnold's child, Charlie or Charlotte, actually die of cancer? Or did they heal the child? Keep in mind, the definition of Hale, Charlotte's last name, is strong and healthy. Well, there's an issue with her age. If Charlie was about 8 or 9 and it's been over 30 years, then the actress, Tessa Thompson, seems too young to be someone in her 40s. And then we've got her last name. It's Hale instead of Weber. But this is not a problem. Maybe she changed her last name for marriage or for another reason. However, another issue is that Charlotte did not seem to recognize Bernard as her father, and she fired him, which suggests that she believed he was human. On top of that, Arnold told Dolores that he used to read Alice's Adventures in Wonderland to his son at night, not his daughter, his son. Later, Ford asked Bernard, "If you could only see your son again, Bernard, wouldn't you want to?" Of course, Ford is referring specifically to the tragic backstory, Charlie, not to Charlotte Hale. So that's fine, and Charlotte Hale may have gotten a sex change, so neither of those are proof against the Charlotte is Charlie theory. But here's the big one. Every host needs a backstory, and Arnold discovered that tragic ones work best. It made the host more convincing. Arnold had his own sad story, so Ford created the Charlie backstory as an homage of a kind. Ford told Dolores that Arnold had watched his son come into this world, and then he had watched that light extinguished. When he had lost his son, he tried to rekindle it in her. He created a test of empathy and imagination, a maze. He had gotten the idea from one of his son's toys. So Arnold clearly lost a son, not just in a figurative sense, like a divorce or a separation. He literally lost a son. Charlie died. There's plenty of evidence. That means Charlotte Hale is not an adult human version of Charlie. It's even better than that. Charlotte Hale is actually a host, and she doesn't know it. I know. Secret Targaryens everywhere, secret host everywhere. Well, that's the fun of the show. There's ample evidence that the host that Ford was creating was a synthetic version of Kid Ford. He gave Kid Ford the tragic backstory related to killing their dog, and he tests Kid Ford a couple times. Check out that video. Felix and Sylvester show us 2 contrasting views on whether or not hosts are real. Sylvester thinks no way Jose, whereas Felix believes that they are conscious. But on top of that, these 2 technicians are most likely hosts. That's why Maeve was able to heal Sylvester's neck using the same tool that they use on hosts. And we even have to wonder about people like Stubbs and Elsie. From a functional and a financial standpoint, it just makes sense that the park utilized host technology. You do not have to pay a host, so aside from the fixed production cost, they're cheaper in the long run, and hosts can do most jobs better than humans. Plus, Stubbs joked to Elsie, "Maybe it's in my backstory." So we've seen park hosts find the centers of their mazes, like Dolores and Maeve, and we're seeing others get close, like Angela, Teddy, Lawrence, Hector, Clem, and others. But Bernard was the big twist in Season 1, because we thought he was human. One of the Season 2 twists will be Charlotte Hale, and unlike Bernard, she's already outside the park. So if this is true, then the roots of Ford's new narrative, Journey into Night, extend far wider than we had previously assumed. Pretty cool. And let's not forget, the very first scene with Charlotte Hale was with Lee. He tried guessing her favorite narrative, and he said final burial of salvation. This could refer to Charlie's death, his burial, and the deliverance of loss in the form of the host, Charlotte Hale. Now you're probably thinking, wait, Charlotte was at odds with Ford. Well, yes and no. Bernard was at odds with Ford at times, and even Kid Ford seemed to be. But Ford's facial expressions are deceptive. It seemed like he was worried at times, but in hindsight, We learn that he was simply analyzing them, and if anything, he was happy that the hosts were breaking loot. There are a lot of hints to this concept of recreation, weaving the old into the new. Arnold created Ford's family, and Ford has been tweaking them. Ford then created Arnold as Bernard. One fine day, perhaps they'll resurrect the dead, call forth Lazarus from his cave. Mozart, Beethoven, and Chopin never died. They simply became music. In short, it's worth keeping this on our radar, especially since Charlotte and Bernard will be spending time together in Season 2, picking up the pieces from the Season 1 finale massacre. If Charlotte was Bernard's true daughter, it might explain why she is in such a powerful position in the board, and it will definitely give the dynamic between the two an extra layer. Arnold told Dolores how he had to let Charlie go in swimming lessons. That's what parents do. Well, eventually, Bernard's going to have to let go of his other children, Dolores and Charlotte Hale. Season 2 cannot come soon enough. Greatest TV show ever. Slightly ahead of Game of Thrones and The Leftovers in my book. Going to be doing episode breakdowns and theory videos all season, so if you want to chat, hit subscribe, and I'll catch you on the flip side.